Multiple stories are coming out saying that the Raptors have urged Scottie Barnes to get in the gym, get in the lab, and work on his game for next season. But what exactly does he need to work on the most to get his game to the highest possible level? Well, in today's video, we're going to answer exactly that. Let's get into it. It wasn't the outstanding breakout season that we were hoping and expecting of Scottie Barnes, but it was a good season nonetheless. Before we go any further, if you guys don't already know, this is Amateur Hour TV. It is the second channel in the Amateur Hour production network, and on this channel, I go through additional NBA and Raptors content in videos with vibes just like this. My main channel, Amateur Hour Sports, is where the content is more professionally done, where yeah, I put a lot more time and effort in, but some other stuff I still want to talk about. Today is something I want to talk about here in Scottie Barnes. So, Scottie Barnes. Fred VanVleet has spoken about, Scottie Barnes can be as good as he wants to be. Nick Nurse has said he needs to be working the offseason to sharpen up a lot of the tools of his game. And Scottie Barnes himself, it's not disrespect, by the way. They just want the best for the player. And Scottie Barnes himself has spoken about things that he needs to work on to get his game to the next level for the next season. So we've had 2 years of Scottie Barnes, the first season for a player who was supposed to be extremely raw and, lacking a lot of skills out of the gate. That was more of a project player. He absolutely blew us away. He went on to win the NBA Rookie of the Year, of course, beating out the likes of Evan Mobley and Cade Cunningham. And we just had, based on the first season, we expected, hey, he grew like this. He's just going to keep on going. He's going to keep on getting better and better, finding new levels. But that didn't really happen this season. In fact, some things improved, some things did not. And one of the key things that did not improve were the fact, his shooting, point-wise, let's go point-wise, it was the same. His points were about the same from last season compared to this season. I think they were exactly the same at 15.3 points per game. It's the efficiency that dropped so tremendously. And it seemed like the overall court impact was something that dropped by a considerable degree. Now, people will say that's because the Raptors don't give him the ball, they don't pass the ball. No, that's not it. That's a pretty lazy way to cop out of it. What really went down on the offensive end was there was a distinct lack of assertiveness in my eyes. So here's a player settling for a lot more mid-range shots, a lot more inefficient shots for his game rather than getting in the paint, getting to the rim. That was something that really happened all throughout the season. On the defensive end, it just seemed like there was a player who was less willing to dominate that side of the floor, a player who's less willing to do everything he can on that end of the floor to get his stops. I'm not saying he's a bad defender, but at times he did look like it this season. We have to be honest with ourselves. And perhaps all of these things, maybe it comes down to conditioning. And that might be the most important thing that Scottie Barnes needs to work on. And Scottie Barnes himself has spoken about conditioning and things he needed to work on from a conditioning standpoint to get himself right for this season. Another thing that he absolutely needs to be working on as well, of course, is the shooting. I mean, I spoke about it in yesterday's video on Amateur Sports. I would encourage you to go check it out. It was a great video yesterday. I talked about the Raptors' future being in serious question. A lot of my titles on that, they're a lot more doom and gloom than the videos actually are. But hey, don't blame me. Blame the people who click on those videos and not the ones where I'm happy about stuff going on with the Raptors. But as far as Scottie Barnes' abilities, like we saw in fourth quarters, like Scottie Barnes was Toronto's best fourth quarter performer this season. What does that come down to? Why is Scottie Barnes much better in fourth quarters compared to the first 3 quarters of the game? Is it clutch? Is it something else? I think it just comes down to he really gives a shit in the fourth quarter. Like, he actually is going out there, hustling, doing all the work, being assertive, being aggressive. And when Scottie Barnes is being aggressive and assertive, that is when he's at his best. He's not the most gifted player in terms of, ball handling skills, shooting skill, passing skill. He's a great passer, but he's not the most gifted, skillful basketball player. But what he does, he reads the game extremely well, and a lot of his game relies on his motor. A lot of the game relies on his intangibles, his energy. And that was something that was so great in his rookie season, and where the skills have developed. He's a much more skilled player than he was his first season. Maybe some of that aggression, some of that hunger, and maybe some of that assertiveness did drop in the second season. Now, make no mistake, I'm not trying to trash the guy here. I'm just trying to be honest. I'm not trying to trash him in any way whatsoever. Scottie Barnes has faced a lot of ridicule this season, but I myself, Scottie Barnes is good this season. I think the issue was us. It was the fans. It was maybe the team. It was the media who put him on such a high pedestal and had such high expectations for the season. We were thinking, like, can Scottie Barnes be an all-star this season? Can Scottie Barnes take over the team this season, be the first guy in the team this season? Never thought he could surpass Siakam in terms of the hierarchy on this team. But I'm not going to lie. There were outside thoughts going in my mind that this guy can actually be an all-star in his second season. I didn't think he'd do it, but I didn't put it past him to get there. In the end, he obviously fell well short of that mark. So the fact that Scottie Barnes, he had a good season. Success is not linear. Maybe some stuff flatlined, some stuff slight decrease, some stuff a little bit better for this most recent season. But I think the biggest thing is that we are just expecting something else. We are expecting a guy to be able to be the focal point of the offense, especially when we had injuries to Siakam early in the season after that injury he sustained in Dallas. We were like, okay, well, great. We have Scottie Barnes. This is a prime opportunity for Scottie Barnes to be the first option, be the number one guy, get the ball in his hands and let him create. He's going to get buckets for us. And that just didn't happen. And maybe that's on us for thinking he could do that and he wasn't ready for that role. Maybe that's on him for not being able to produce our expectations. Maybe it's a little bit of both. But what is going to change and what is going to heighten his game for the next season? I mean, his motor is so important, as I said. So first and foremost, I hate talking about these things because here I am, like a slouch sitting at home talking about basketball. Yeah, I play in my rec leagues, but I'm nowhere near the level of these athletes. But like conditioning, if he gets his conditioning up, the amount of money going into these teams, into these players, if you can get your conditioning higher up, obviously like there's no limit to conditioning, but if you can improve your conditioning and make yourself just that much more effective for that much longer in the game, allowing you to heighten your level for longer periods of time, that's going to be absolutely massive for this team. So I think that's first and foremost something that needs to happen for him, because we can forgive the shooting. We can kind of forgive the shooting. Shooting also needs to come, but I think the biggest thing is the conditioning. So obviously, these guys are humans. They're not machines. So, take your rest. The season's over. You played a long season, grueling season. Take your rest, take your vacation, but get in the lab early, focus on conditioning, don't let it slip too much, and come in extraordinarily sharp for next season. I think Scottie Barnes, he doesn't listen to the noise, but I think he listens to himself, and I think he's a bit of a harsh critic on himself. He puts a lot of weight on his own shoulders, so I imagine he'll be working hard to rectify that. Now, the shooting is another important thing, of course, but I think that will come. The mechanics are there. He's got to work on it. He's got to do the work. But as Fred VanVleet said, he's going to be as good as he wants to be. Scottie Barnes is going to be as good as he wants himself to be. He's out there putting the work, getting in the lab, getting in the gym. He's going to be an outstanding player in this league. I have a lot of faith in him as a Raptors player in the future. All right, guys, what did you make of this video? What do you make of Scottie Barnes' talent? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below, because that is it for me for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, please make sure you are subscribed to Amateur TV for more Raptors content like this, and please make sure you drop a like on this video to support the channel. Around my head right now, all the other channels in the Amateur Production Network. I think right here, this is another video you might enjoy. Around my head here, my Amateur Sports channel for Raptors content, Amateur Clips, stream highlights from my streams on Amateur Sports, and Amateur Bets, my betting content. Check them out. Show your love. I'll see you next time.